Can a former Filipino still own real properties in the Philippines? We all know that our constitution currently prohibits foreigners from owning land in the Philippines. But does this apply to Filipinos or ex-Filipinos? Filipinos who became citizens of another country?
A lot of our countrymen who worked abroad for many years went on to eventually retire back here in the motherland. But what if they've already gained citizenship in that other country? Can they still come back to the Philippines and own property? This is one of the questions of one of our viewers, Bobby E.
Hey, Bobby E.
And he writes, maraming former natural-born Filipinos ang gusto umuwi na at mag-retire sa Pilipinas. Totoo naman.
Totoo.
Naghahanap po sila ng land for residential purposes at land for small businesses or agricultural purposes for them just to have income for their daily needs. Nag-research po ako.
Nag-research si Bobby. Okay.
Former natural-born Filipinos can own property in the Philippines subject to limitations prescribed by the Philippine Republic Act 8179.
Yun.
This residential property up to 1,000 square meters of urban land or 1 hectare of rural land is mentioned. May limit po ba itong number of properties?
Yun. Great question. Thank you so much for that, Bobby. But before that, we would like to also give a shout out to one of our followers. And she said, I love every webinar that I watch. It is very clear and very informative. The videos help me a lot, especially the labor-related topics. Nice. I hope you keep creating videos and keep and contributing to the people. This is from Joriza Esteban Asis. Thank you so much, Joriza. Now, please keep watching and sharing our videos. And if you're finding our content helpful, a quick like and subscribe would be very much appreciated. Now, let's get on with the show. If you're having issues transferring your land or have issues transferring the properties of a loved one who passed away, we have something that can help. We recorded an FAQ session where we answered the most common questions related to real property transfers and estate settlement. You can access the recording by going to www.legalaccess.ph and choosing the transferring land or the estate settlement topics there.
Welcome to Legal Guide Philippines, where we simplify the law to help you make better choices. I'm attorney 𝙗𝙞𝙤𝙑 and I'm with my partner,
Attorney Ramon Ramirez. Okay, so today we will discuss a concern for many Filipino immigrants naman, or which is can they still own real properties in the Philippines?
Marami na naipon eh.
Yes.
So, syempre pagdating dito, pagpunta ng mall, nangungulekta na lang ng mga flyers, diba?
So, yung mga nagbebenta ng so
investment.
So we see this happening a lot around us. Many Filipinos in search of a better life, better opportunities for their families, that they decide to work abroad or even migrate. They set up their lives abroad, andun na sila, they start their families there, and eventually, what happens? They become citizens of that other country.
Nanumpa
Sa
ibang bansa.
And I think a great majority of our immigrant Filipinos, I'm not sure, I don't know the statistics, but I just feel that they like to migrate in the USA, the United States. Yan. It's so prevalent, I think, that I don't know any Pinoy who doesn't have a relative who is based in the US. Yan.
Then they send balikbayan boxes.
Yes, may tuwalya. Yes.
Na amoy America.
Amoy America. Yung pala downy lang yun. Yeah, so sending balikbayan boxes, of course, to their loved ones here. So, to my parents, yung sabon ko, at saka yung tuwalya, at saka corned beef.
Ano ba usually yung mga nire-request mo? Tuwalya, sabon?
Hindi na ngayon, pero nung kasi easily accessible na yun. No?
Chocolate,
yan, iba-ibang klase, no? Alpine white. Meron pa ba yan? So anyway, that's what we'll be talking about. No? Now they want to go back to the Philippines. But wait, they're already citizens of another country.
Yun ang problem.
Yes.
Kasi generally speaking, only Filipino citizens can own real estate.
Yes, that's correct. Our generally speaking, our constitution says only Filipino citizens may own yung land, no? Actually, land.
And technically speaking, once nanumpa ka, foreigner ka na.
Yes.
Diba?
So kahit na mukha ka pa ring Pinoy, kahit na anong itsura mo na
kumakain ka pa rin ng kanin,
oo,
diba?
pag nanumpa ka in another country, you're already a foreigner. No? So you lose your Filipino citizenship. Okay? So, and let's go back to the Constitution. What does the Constitution say? No? What is the effect of their now being foreigners or aliens? Actually, they're called aliens under law. No? Okay, so sabi ng Article 12, Section 7 of our 1987 Constitution, sabi ni, maybe I should do attorney basa.
Tingin ko.
Okay, save in cases of hereditary succession, no private lands shall be transferred or conveyed except to individuals, corporations, or associations qualified to acquire or hold lands of the public domain. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, basically, if you're a foreigner, you cannot own private land. No? In fact, unless may hereditary succession. And we'll talk about that later on. Let's go to Article 12, Section 8. Attorney, anong sabi? Notwithstanding the provisions of Section 7 of this article, a natural-born citizen of the Philippines who has lost his Philippine citizenship may be a transferee of private lands, subject to the limitations provided by law. Oh, very no? So
may butas.
May butas. Okay, so somebody was a naturally born citizen of the Philippines. So pinanganak sa Pinas, pero nawala ang kanyang Philippine citizenship by taking allegiance, oath of allegiance. Siguro nagpa-naturalize siya as a citizen of another country. Na nawala yun, pwede pa rin siya maging transferee.
That's good news.
Okay, good news, no?
Kaya lang, may pinag-uusapan subject to limitations.
Limitations
we'll talk about
provided by law. Yes, we will talk about two laws, no? Okay, now, I think it's worth mentioning under the case of Frenzel versus Catito. It's a July 2003 case. No? Sabi ng Supreme Court dyan that the lands of the public domain which include private lands may be transferred or conveyed only to individuals or entities qualified to acquire or hold private lands or lands of the public domain. Aliens, whether individuals or corporations, have been disqualified from acquiring lands of the public domain. Hence, they have also been disqualified from acquiring private lands. Okay, so very clear, no? Aliens, hindi pwede. Pag natural-born citizen, mukhang pwede. Yan. Okay. So like I said, the general rule is that foreigners cannot own land. But please take note that what they're talking about here are lands, okay? So they're not talking about all kinds of real property. Like, kunwari,
di ba
example?
Property, di ba, land, yun yung mga bahay, building.
Yes,
may lusot?
May lusot.
Ano yung lusot?
So, baka mapapansin nyo sa mga condo, di ba? Sa mga condominium.
So, it's not considered land.
Hindi siya land. So, hindi siya pasok sa prohibition. There are prohibitions when we talk about the condominium corporation and percentages there, but in general, CCT kasi hindi siya lupa, no? So hindi siya pasok dun sa disqualification.
Ibang limitation naman yung pinag-uusapan.
Yes. Doon. Okay. So yun, so kaya mapapansin niyo in yung mga condos, you see a lot of there are already a lot of foreigners there, no?
Kasi yun lang ang pwede pala nilang bilhin.
Yes. All right. Now also there are other ways around this too. Like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes I would encounter, let's say, a resort. No? A resort where a foreigner is there claiming to be the owner. Yan. Pero yung pala, it's because their spouse is the one who owns the property on which the business is on. No? So, may mga ganong technicality. No? Please, if you want to do that, or please consult your lawyer so that you know how to do it properly. Okay? Now, as far as former Filipinos are concerned, sabi nga ng Constitution natin, we have, they can own land, let's say through hereditary succession or estate, or diba? Namatay yung kanilang kamag-anak, iminana nila. Pwede yan, attorney. Okay? And pwede rin for naturally born citizens na nawala yung kanilang status, but may laws tayo na titignan na who will limit yung kanilang ownership of lands in the Philippines. Yes. All right? So, we'll talk about that next, what these limitations are under the law.
And we'll be back after this short break.
Bagong-bago. Yung pa ang tawag sa batas ng batas pambansa.
And we're back.
Okay, so what are these limitations under the law? Well, Attorney Erwin, there are two relevant laws here. Okay? The first one is what we call the Batas Pambansa 185.
Bagong-bago.
Bagong-bago. Yung pa ang tawag sa batas, no? Batas Pambansa. So, if I'm not mistaken, this was an 1982 na law. No? So, ano pa ako niyan? Batang-bata pa ako niyan. Wala pa akong kamalay-malay na things exist. Yan. Okay. So, ano sabi sa Batas Pambansa 182?
185.
Oh, sorry, 185. Any natural-born citizen of the Philippines, this is Section 2 of 185, who has lost his Philippine citizenship and who has legal capacity to enter into contracts under Philippine laws may be a transferee of private land. Yan, pwede siyang mag-own ng private land. Pero may limit. And ito na yung limit na sinasabi natin. Up to a maximum of 1,000 square meters in the case of urban land or 1 hectare in the case of rural land. And this is important to be used by him as his residence. Him or her, no? As his residence.
Alam
Okay?
mo, at first glance, parang ang liit. Pero I've been looking around for a house to transfer to. Malaki yan. 1,000 in an urban area. Ang laki
Ang
niyan.
ganda na ng garden mo dyan. Right. Oh.
And for agricultural, 1 hectare, malaki yan. Malaki yan. So,
But ang daming pechay na natin na pwede. Marami na tayong pwedeng itanim na talong dyan, pechay.
lettuce
For-
naman.
for,
lettuce.
for our daily needs.
Hindi mo na kailangan mamalingke. I-rotation mo lang yun. May babuyan ka pa sa
Crop
dulo.
rotation. Pwede ka pa rin, may small fish pond ka na doon.
But seriously, I think the law was very generous with those proportions. Lalo na residents.
Yeah.
Hindi naman sinabi for industrial use.
No, it's not for business. Ibang law naman for business. But guys, so BP 185 is for residents, no? Use ng residents. Now, what about kung business, Attorney Erwin? So, for business, we look at Republic Act 8179 or 8179 or the Foreign Investments Act, no? So, we look there at Section 10. Ano naman ang sabi ng Section 10? Very similar to yung BP 185, to Section 2 BP 185. It says, any natural-born citizen who, again, lost his Philippine citizenship, who has the legal capacity to enter into a contract under Philippine laws, may be a transferee of private land. Again, pero this time for business, no? Up to a maximum area of 5,000 square meters in the case of urban land or 3 hectares in the case of rural land.
Kasyang-kasya na yung lettuce mo dyan.
Oo, pero ano na to, may negosyo na siya here.
Negosyo nga niya.
Lettuce negosyo. Parang aquaponics ba? Yan. Okay? Now, the last part it says is to be used by him or her for business or other purposes.
But seriously speaking, there's a lot that you can fit into that lot area na.
Very
it can
true.
be an office, it can be stock, mini warehouse of some sort, di ba?
Yeah. So, now with respect to atong paggamit sa business, the law provides additional provisions, no? So, kuwari, in case the transferee or yung ating ex-Pinoy, no, already owns urban land or rural land other than yung kukunin niyang bago, no, he can still be entitled, no, to these amounts as long as those properties already owned by him plus yung bibilhin niya or matatransfer sa kanya shall not exceed yung maximum areas natin. So yung 5 hectares at saka yung yung 3,000 ba yun? Yung 5,000 square meters, di ba? All right. So now a transferee under this act may also acquire not more than 2 lots.
So may limitation.
May limitation na naman yan. Another limitation is they may not acquire more than 2 lots and these lots should be situated in different cities or municipalities. Okay? Provided that yung total land area should not exceed, itong 2 lots na to should not exceed yung 5,000 and yung 3 hectares of rural land. Okay? Depending on what they have. Also, last limitation is a transferee who has already acquired urban land shall be disqualified from acquiring rural land and vice versa. Okay? So those are the limitations natin under RA 8179 for business purposes and under BP 185 for residential purposes naman. Okay? So just to recap, no? A transferee under this act may acquire not more than 2 lots, guys, which should be situated in different municipalities. Okay? And yun nga, it should not exceed yung 5,000 natin And if naka-acquire na siya ng urban land, hindi na siya pwedeng mag-acquire ng rural land. And vice versa, kung nakukuha na siya ng rural land, hindi na rin siya pwedeng kumuha ng urban land.
Mamili ka.
Mamili ka ng klase ng negosyo na gagamitin mo.
Kasi the intention is not to deprive locals from properties. And at the same time, retiree ka na pabalik ka na diba? So, we're not foreseeing a big demand for real estate.
Correct.
Ano yan, magiging real estate mogul ka pa rito, mamimili ka, papatayo mo ng apartment, diba?
Correct. If you want to do that, then maybe there are ways to be able to do that, but not as a citizen of another country. Diba? So, yun yung ano doon. No? And we'll talk about that later on. Okay?
Attorney, may tanong ako. What about yung dual citizens?
Okay.
Kasi merong, di ba, nag-swear in sila as a citizen of another country, but we have the dual citizen law.
Correct.
So, pumasok sila as dual citizens. Are there restrictions? Is it the same?
Definitely a good question, Attorney Erwin. So, and that's what we'll be talking about next.
And we'll be back after this short break.
And we're back.
All right. So now let's talk about dual citizens. No? So kanina our scenario was citizens na sila lang yung mga natural born Filipinos natin, citizens of another country already, 'di ba? Sumumpa na sila doon 'di ba? So effectively nawala na nila yung citizenship nila.
Because under the law, once you pledge allegiance to another country, tanggal ang Filipino citizenship mo.
Right.
Diba?
Correct. Now with RA 9225, it allows Filipinos who've lost that citizenship, yung Filipino citizenship nila, they may reacquire it, okay, and become dual citizens, no?
So citizen ka nung isa pang country, while at the same time, reacquired mo ngayon yung Filipino citizenship. So basically, nawala yung Filipino citizenship, ibinalik mo.
Correct.
Okay.
So now, for dual citizens, the limitations on land ownership under BP 185 and yung FIA natin, yung 8179, RA 8179, they do not apply to dual citizens. Okay? Because they are already now, as for all intents and purposes, Filipino citizens again. Okay?
So, as if parang tayo lang, normal na Pilipino ang treatment.
Yes, yun ang treatment. And the law or RA 9225 would have, yung rights ng mga dual citizens. Andun yun, if you can check that out. No? So it's important here, I think I'd like to take a look at yung section 2 of RA 9225, which is yung law wherein now Filipinos can reacquire their citizenship. It says there in the Declaration of Policy, section 2, that it is hereby declared the policy of the state that all Philippine citizens of another country shall be deemed not to have lost their Philippine citizenship under the conditions of this act.
As if nothing happened.
As if nothing happened. As if hindi sila sumumpa sa ibang country. Yan.
So by legal fiction, burado yun.
Yes. Now, moving on, section 3 of the same law would say retention of Philippine citizenship. Any provision of law to the contrary notwithstanding, natural born citizenship by reason of their naturalization as citizens of a foreign country are hereby deemed to have reacquired Philippine citizenship upon taking the following oath of allegiance. Okay? Gusto kong makita nyo kung ano yung oath of allegiance. Sabi niya, I, blah, 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 solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines and obey the laws and legal orders promulgated by the duly constituted authorities of the Philippines. And I hereby declare that I recognize and accept the supreme authority of the Philippines and will maintain true faith and allegiance thereto. Uy, very good. And that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily without mental reservation and purpose of evasion.
Nice.
Once mag-oath ka ulit ng ganyan, you would have been deemed to reacquire your Philippine citizenship.
Wait, Attorney Ramon. So may lilinawin ako. So,
alright.
Factually, anong nangyari? Pilipino siya.
Okay.
And then nag-swear siya under another country.
Yes.
Naging citizen siya doon. And then mag-a-apply siya uli as Filipino.
Yes.
So basically, pare, Filipino, nawala, and then naging Filipino. However, because of the provisions of the law, sinasabi, it's as if he never nawala.
As if never nawala.
Yan.
So, nagre-retroact siya. No?
Okay.
Na, as in, Pinoy siya all throughout.
So, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, hindi mo pwedeng bilhin to, yung lupang to, kasi naging citizen ka
Yeah.
ng ibang bansa. No, no, no. It's as if nothing happened.
It's as if nothing
Okay,
happened.
okay.
Yan. Okay, for you guys, for our listeners or our readers or viewers, who are thinking of getting properties in the Philippines, and you are in this situation, you might want to explore also getting or being a dual citizen. Okay, so please take a look at RA 9225 and check out kung ano if that's something that you might want to explore.
I think the only downside to that would be having to go to the consulate
Mm-hmm.
of the country where you are in. Medyo kakain ng oras. Kasi not every Filipino lives close to a consulate.
That's
Yung
true.
iba, medyo
That's true.
magbabiyahe talaga. And then I think you have to uh, fill up some forms and everything, get some information.
Yeah.
But other than that, in terms of going back to the Philippines and enjoying your retirement here, parang tingin ko panalong-panalo.
Right.
It's worth it.
Or if not retirement, maybe investment or whatever you wanna go into the real estate industry, rentals or whatever. Then it makes sense. It can make sense, no, to you. Of course, that's a business decision that you guys will have to make.
And I remember one client that we advised, parang sa kanya, okay na ako, ayoko na mag-dual citizen kasi okay na naman yung okay na naman yung limitations. As is, di ba, former.
Correct.
Eto ngayon, a few years down the line, parang maliit itong natirahan ko. And he wanted to expand. So, parang balik siya sa amin. So, kami naman, we had to say, well, we told you so, di ba? Parang it would have taken one visit to the consulate's office and then everything would have worked out fine. So, for me, my advice is think long-term. Di ba? Even though you don't think you need it yet, might as well be prepared. Wala namang masama with being over-prepared, especially if you plan to come back here and spend your retirement here. That way, you're prepared for every scenario that can arise.
So, and maybe, please keep sending us balikbayan boxes. So, Tony, we talked about a lot today, no? So, why don't we review what we talked about?
Yeah, medyo mahaba para at least everyone can safely remember everything that we've discussed. And the first one is the constitutional prohibition on aliens owning land in the Philippines. Again, the general rule is, ang aliens pwede bang mag-own ng land? No. However, there are exceptions to that. And we discussed that thoroughly earlier in this video. The second thing that we talked about is BP 185, ang bagong-bagong law, and the Foreign Investments Act. And those discussed the situations wherein Filipinos who have acquired foreign citizenship can
still own.
Yes.
They can still own lands in the Philippines subject to yung mga area limitations natin. Yan. So, and it will depend on whether it's for residential purposes or for business purposes.
Yes.
Okay.
And finally, we talked about our recommendation, and that is to get dual citizenship whenever available. Dual citizenship enables you to reacquire your Filipino citizenship, and by legal fiction, it's as if nothing happened. The legal implication of which is you can own as many properties as you want, because in terms of how the law sees you, you're still a Filipino.
Correct.
And thereby not encumbered by any restrictions whatsoever.
Right. And so before we close, I'd like to go back to our reader, no, was it Bobby? Yeah, si Bobby. No, Bobby, your research was good, but I noticed that I think you got that from a website, no. And while we were doing research for this, we noticed I think some websites na pagpalit nila yung thresholds, no. They were saying that under the FIA or the Foreign Investments Act, yun andun yung 1,000 square meters or 1 hectare, no. It's not, no. That is from BP 185, no. Yung sa Foreign Investments Act, yung mas malaki naman, yung 5,000 square meters and yung 3 hectares, no. So we just wanted to clarify but thank you for doing your research. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much. For most of you, this lesson was more than enough, and if it makes your life easier, then you're welcome. But there are some of you who will watch this episode and end up asking even more questions, like, attorney, what if we only inherited the property but we are not sure how to transfer it? Or attorney, what's the process of actually transferring the properties? Or attorney, do we even need to pay taxes now?
If that's you, then we invite you to check out the Estate Settlement Guide Workshop. Again, workshop, not a book, where in as little as 1 hour, we give you a crash course on succession law and a general roadmap of the entire estate settlement framework. With this guide, you will know exactly where you are in the process, regardless of whether you're doing it on your own or if you have hired someone to assist you. You can access this workshop at info.legalguide.ph/estate today.
Now, one last thing, guys. A lot of our countrymen have decided to live their lives abroad in search of a better life. And in doing so, they may have given their allegiance to that foreign country, renouncing their Pinoy citizenship. But for those who want to come back to the motherland to simply, repatriate or invest or even retire, the law has made it easier for them to be welcomed back with open arms. The Philippines still loves you. Come back, and together let's make our country a better place to live in.
Babalik ka rin.
So wasn't that simple? Now go make better choices.